Modern football requires players to be good enough in multiple positions and capable enough to hold their own during different transitions, but at the same time, coaches expect their players to be specifically flawless in one position at least. While being diverse is great, it's always important for a player to be more renowned for his performances in a particular role. The role of a fullback has changed quite a lot in recent years, with these marauding athletes expected to do a lot more than just defend. Trent Alexander-Arnold is perhaps the perfect example of how a modern fullback is supposed to be a capable defender and someone who could chip in with assists and even goals at times. The Liverpool youngster's rise has been stratospheric, but it isn't a surprise in all honesty. Hey everyone, and welcome to Goalside, where we bring you what you want to know about football on the daily. Today we'll be talking about the rise of Liverpool fullback Trent Alexander-Arnold, and we'll try to figure out why he's considered the best in his position in the world right now. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel, and before we forget, how about you let us know in the comments section what topics you'd like us to work on, and we'll definitely try to make your wish come true. But hold it for a second, make sure you watch the whole video because boy, we've got a treat for you. During the video, we're going to ask you a question, and if you're able to answer it correctly, you might win yourself a $100 Amazon gift card. Alexander-Arnold has been making huge waves in the Premier League in the last 2 seasons, and if you look at the sort of competition the youngster has been facing, this particular star's shine is increasing quite a bit, and will continue to do so. The English national team is doing amazingly well at the fullback role. The Three Lions can call upon the services of the Liverpool man, or of Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Reece James. While those two are probably amazing fullbacks, they might not be as complete and well-rounded as Alexander-Arnold, who's taken his development to another level and is understandably being considered one of the best fullbacks in the world. So what is it that makes Trent Alexander-Arnold the best fullback on the planet? Or better, is Trent Alexander-Arnold really the best fullback in the world right now? Perhaps a good comparison with his peers in the English game might help us reach a more definitive conclusion. Let's start with Alexander-Arnold's first role, which is defence. The youngster has not been a bad defender this season, but hasn't been that good either. While Liverpool are literally romping to their first ever Premier League title, Trent's defensive skills might not have played a huge role in that. The youngster averages 1.6 successful tackles per 90 minutes and boasts a decent success rate of 53.3%. Reece James, on the other hand, averages 1.9 successful tackles per 90 minutes and has a success rate of 65.3%. However, it's Wan-Bissaka who's better than both, averaging 3.8 successful tackles per 90 and boasts a whopping 82.6% success rate. Indeed, it wouldn't be wrong to consider the Manchester United man as one of the best tacklers in the Premier League this season. Defensive astuteness is another aspect of the game which can be gauged by the amount of times a player completes an interception, and Wan-Bissaka once again leads his fellow countrymen in this regard, averaging 2 per 90 minutes. If we look at this comparison, it becomes clear that Alexander-Arnold still has a lot of work to do when it comes to being more defensively responsible. While Liverpool haven't faced a lot of resistance on their way to a Premier League triumph, a time will come when the Reds will be facing teams that would like to take the game to them. For games like these, Alexander-Arnold's defensive acumen will be tested to the limit. Imagine having to deal with players such as Hakim Ziyech, Jadon Sancho and Adama Traore, whose varying attributes can make life difficult for fullbacks, especially those whose overall game is attacking in nature. Moving on from the defensive side of things, let's talk about Alexander-Arnold's passing and attacking prowess. While we admit that fullbacks are judged first because of their defending, the modern game places a lot of emphasis on attacking play. Reece James, for instance, boasts a pass completion rate of 87%, which is way better than Wan-Bissaka and Alexander-Arnold's, which is at 79.9 and 75.8 respectively. Now on the face of it, this particular metric does actually leave a lot of questions unanswered. For instance, Alexander-Arnold is involved a lot in build-up play, and the high-intensity game plan at Liverpool means that players at times do lose possession of the ball, but then again, it isn't really an issue because Jurgen Klopp's men somehow always find a way to win back possession easily. Moreover, Klopp's team can be a scary prospect due to the fact that they boast the perfect players who can attack down the flanks, and Alexander-Arnold is one of those players who would often make a run down the flank and whip in an excellent cross. He averages 7.9 crosses per 90 minutes, which is a very good number. Reece James averages 5.8 and Wan-Bissaka averages a paltry 2.86, which is why he's faced quite a lot of criticism over his limited contribution to the offensive side of things. Now when we talk about number of chances created, Alexander-Arnold averages 2.6 every 90 minutes, which is almost twice of what James and Wan-Bissaka have managed this season. The young Reds fullback is technically very good and knows exactly what channels are available to his teammates, hence a very solid assists record for the past 2 years. Now when it comes to being attacking minded, a fullback needs to be a good dribbler, and if you look at Alexander-Arnold's overall gameplay, the youngster is a pretty good one. However, it's quite surprising to see that Reece James and Wan-Bissaka have more successful dribbles per 90 minutes than Alexander-Arnold. But perhaps the next metrics are going to make things more clear for us. If you have a fullback who's a provider and a scorer, you're in for a treat. If your main weapons are blunted, you know that the fullback would be the trump card and come up with the goods. Trent is definitely one of the most productive fullbacks on the planet in this regard. The youngster has scored 4 goals and provided an astonishing 25 assists in 84 Premier League appearances to date. This season he's provided 12 assists and scored twice. James and Wan-Bissaka are yet to find the back of the net for their respective clubs in the Premier League. Time for our question. In which year did Trent Alexander-Arnold make his debut for Liverpool? So based on all these stats, it gets clear that at present Alexander-Arnold isn't the best fullback on the planet. But yes, based on these stats, we can also say that he is the most informed winger in the world at the moment. Perhaps it's because of the 4-3-3 system that Alexander-Arnold's best qualities are being put on display more often than not. With Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane playing as inverted wingers and Fabinho dropping into a back 3, when Alexander-Arnold and Robertson make their trademark runs, it gets easier for the young fullback to focus on attack and building up a move. Another thing that really sets Alexander-Arnold apart from the rest is that there is always an air of unpredictability about him. He knows exactly which moment to choose. When we talk about Alexander-Arnold, we talk about a player who would take risks which would result in him losing the ball, either by whipping in a cross or going for the long diagonal ball. When it works, it's amazing, and when it doesn't, it isn't that bad, because it does create a chaotic situation. Indeed, this high risk and reward strategy has paid dividends. No outfield player in the Premier League has lost possession more than the young fullback has this season. But on the other side of the spectrum, not many outfield players can boast his assist record either. And it's this particular statistic that on the outside may look a little off in nature, but upon closer inspection is the main reason why Trent Alexander-Arnold is a unique one-of-a-kind fullback who deserves to be considered one of the best fullbacks on the planet.